Welcome back to SuperBike Intelligence. If you're new here, grab a coffee, pull up a chair in the garage, and stay a while. And if you've been here before, you already know where this is going. I want to talk about something that always sparks arguments at petrol stations, comment sections, and group rides. Something that makes people defensive before you even finish the sentence. Why BMW motorcycles feel faster than they actually are. And yeah, I said feel. Now, before anyone tightens their gloves and reaches for the dyno charts, relax. This isn't a takedown. This is about emotion, about perception, about why certain bikes get under your skin in ways numbers never explain. Because if you've ever ridden a BMW, especially for the first time, you know that moment. You pull away from the curb, barely crack the throttle, and your brain goes, whoa, this thing is serious, even when you're not going that fast. And that's not an accident. BMW, or more accurately BMW Motorrad, has spent decades mastering something most brands barely acknowledge. How speed feels matters more than how fast you're actually going. Think about your first cold start on a BMW. That sharp, purposeful bark. Not dramatic, not loud for the sake of loud. Just confident. Like the bike knows exactly what it is, and it doesn't need to impress you. It's already ahead of you. You roll out into the street. The throttle isn't soft or forgiving, it's clean, immediate, almost impatient. The bike doesn't surge, it responds. And your brain interprets that response as speed. You're doing 30, but it feels like 50. That's where the magic starts. BMW bikes rarely feel playful in the traditional sense. They feel intentional, purpose-built. Like every input you give matters. The steering is precise. The brakes are firm and decisive. The chassis doesn't wobble or negotiate, it commits. So when you accelerate even modestly, there's no drama, no delay, no switch, just forward motion now. And your brain goes, this is fast. Not because it's ripping your arms off, but because nothing feels wasted. Here's the controversial part, and yeah, this is where the comments usually start filling up. BMWs often don't feel wild, they don't feel reckless, they don't feel like they're trying to scare you, and ironically, that makes them feel faster. Because chaos feels slow once you're used to it. On a bike that shakes, screams, and begs for attention, your brain is busy filtering noise. On a BMW, everything is so controlled that your mind locks onto the sensation of acceleration itself. No distraction, no fluff. It's like riding inside a precision instrument rather than on top of a machine. Picture this, late night ride, empty dual carriageway, you're tucked in, steady throttle, just cruising. The bike feels planted, stable, almost relaxed. You glance down. You're already doing numbers that would get you a very serious conversation with the police, and you didn't even notice. That's the thing. BMW speed sneaks up on you. Other bikes shout, BMWs whisper, and somehow that's more dangerous. Now, let's talk rider identity for a second, because this is where emotions really flare. BMW riders get labeled all the time. Too serious, too clinical, too corporate, too expensive, too German. And honestly, some of that sticks because BMW leans into it. BMW motorcycles feel engineered, not emotional, until you realize that engineering is their emotion. This brand isn't about rebellion or nostalgia or raw chaos. It's about control, mastery, the quiet confidence of knowing you're operating something extremely capable, and you're expected to rise to its level. That creates a certain kind of rider loyalty, because when a BMW clicks with you, it doesn't feel like a fling. It feels like a partnership. You don't wrestle it, you work with it. And when someone says, yeah, but my bike is faster on paper, the BMW rider just smiles. Because they know something you don't feel until you've lived with one. Speed isn't always about adrenaline. Sometimes it's about effortlessness. That's also why BMWs divide opinions so hard. Some riders hate that sensation. They want drama, vibration, noise. A sense that the bike is barely holding itself together. They want to feel like they survived the ride. BMW doesn't give you that. BMW gives you a machine that feels like it could do this all day. And then some. And for some people, that's boring. For others, it's intoxicating. Think about group rides. There's always that moment when everyone lines up at the lights. Engines revving, posture stiffening, someone glances sideways. The BMW rider rarely revs the hardest. They don't need to. When the light goes green, the bike just goes. Clean, efficient, no theatrics. And suddenly, that quiet bike is already a length ahead before anyone's finished making noise. That's when people start questioning their assumptions. And if you've ever defended BMW in a comment section or criticized it, you already know this topic hits a nerve. Because BMW isn't trying to be everyone's dream bike. It's trying to be its own thing. That's why it creates loyalty, controversy, and admiration all at once. If this is resonating with you, or annoying you, drop a comment. Seriously. I read them all, and this is exactly the kind of debate this channel exists for. And if you're enjoying this kind of honest motorcycle conversation, you already know what to do with that subscribe button. Here's the part I'll leave you with. Speed isn't always about how fast a bike is. Sometimes it's about how quickly it convinces your brain that you're capable of more. BMW motorcycles don't shout about speed. They assume you can handle it. So the real question isn't whether BMWs are faster than they seem. It's whether you trust a bike that makes speed feel effortless, or if you'd rather feel like you're fighting for every mile per hour. Tell me what camp you're in.